Alex Jones here from my home at 6:45 Central with some incredible information on Facebook, on Twitter, and on YouTube. President Trump pointed out that China has massive tariffs, 4 to 5 times what U.S. tariffs are, on our steel, on our automobiles, on our raw materials, on our oil, on everything. And after decades of America surrendering to globalism, he signed an executive order and signed a directive through the World Trade Organization that China can't put a 25% tariff on our cars and we put a 2% on them. That we can't have a 15% corporate tax and they have a 0. That they can't continue to do this, and that Europe can't, and Japan can't, and South Korea can't, and everybody else can't. And Trump, in this powerful speech he gave today that I carried live on the radio, he said, I meet with these world leaders and they smile and laugh. I can't believe for 50 years the U.S. has done this. And they think we're all ignorant. They think we're morons and don't understand the dozens of tariffs the EU and Communist China and Japan and India and all these other countries have on us. And to see Trump put a $60 billion tariff on the $500 billion a year, roughly, that China has on us, of the $90 billion that's global total, they're more than half of it, $500 billion. And to see him stand up in our own so-called media that's bought and paid for by the Communist Chinese. They run Hollywood. They own the big 6 production houses now. I mean, Trump came along when basically America was already under Chinese control. That means Chinese communists that enslave their own people, who put all their money into political control, who have no middle class, who kill political dissidents, who kill Buddhists, who kill Christians. None of this is on our news. Tiananmen Square back in '89 was, but nothing now. So China today declared trade war on the United States. And they said, we declare trade war, we will fight to the end. CNBC. And you can read the official quotes by them. So, if you know the history of it, which everybody's taught, like, oh, history's boring, would you actually like to know how China went from being 90% agrarian that couldn't even control its own country and that Japan kept conquering to suddenly running the world 60 years later? Would you like to know? Leftist robber baron foundations after World War II. This is all declassified. Congressional hearings, History Channel shows. But I used to hear about this from the John Birch Society when I was a kid, before it was declassified. In like 2004, it was declassified. They put Mao Zedong in power and screwed over Chiang Kai-shek, even though Congress sent all these weapons. Hundreds of thousands of rifles, thousands of tanks, everything. They wouldn't put firing pins in them. They wouldn't put engines in the tanks. Wouldn't put aircraft engines in everything. Our main government knew what was going on, but they'd already set up at 47 the CIA, which was globalist, so it would get congressional funding and then sabotage it. And so Chiang Kai-shek went to Taiwan. That's why Taiwan's separate today, but China's always trying to shut it down. So China has gone from in the 70s killing 80 million of their own people in the 60s, 70s to not being able to have running water in 90% of the country, to now having more industry, more jobs, more nuclear power plants, more weapons than the U.S. in many cases, depending on the demographic. How they do it? $500 billion trade deficits since 1993. That's the average. In the decade before, it was a $200 or something billion. They've had trillions to do whatever they wanted. And now, Trump looks at this and how they take all our intellectual property for engineering and machines and weapons and media, and China officially doesn't recognize our copyrights or trademarks. They built the whole world system we have right now. So Trump comes in today and he says $60 billion, and that's only the first. You steal $500 billion a year in trade deficits, and you just got to do some trade with us, something reciprocal. And China responds to, we are going to destroy you, and we will fight to the last person, and we will never give up. Well, I mean, we know to collectivize stuff, you kill 84 billion people. I mean, we get that. So the left loves you. Apple loves you with the Foxconn, slave labs, all of it. I mean, you're like, the left is in love with killing. In love with killing the Chinese Christians. In love with killing the Buddhists. Raw power is what a chicken neck soy boy wants. Even if they're not part of it, murder is their game. That's their spiritual ether. So the people of China don't get anything from any of this. And there's no criticism of any of it. And Trump comes out and says, you steal $500 billion a year. We're going to do $60 billion until you line up and start doing deals with us. And China says, we're at war. We will fight to the last person. And they're financed by Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, all of it. Took American money, transferred it to China, shut down our industry, transferred the jobs to exploit Chinese labor, and then leverage out the planet. Fascist global corporations using China as the lever and the engine of global domination. So here's the message to the communist Chinese dictator that just had them vote him in for life, even though before it was the Central Committee and Politburo that would do it. You were still a dictator, but now it's dictator for life. You know the globalists and that Western power and ingenuity that you copy put Mao Zedong in power in 49 and backed him during the fight against the Japanese in World War II. You know our universities open you up to everything. You know it all. It's a bunch of talk. When the communist Chinese dictator that just got voted as dictator last week by the globalists to make him more powerful against us, he promised at Davos a year ago to defeat America 14 months ago. When you declare all that, it's a sign of your weakness. Because you know full well the Western elites put you in power and gave you the one-sided trade deals to try to finally make communism work for the elite to leverage out the planet. That's why a year and a half ago, before Obama was out, like 2 months before he was out, he went to South America and he said, communism is good for your country, the multinationals aren't, but we'll work with you. So that's why this is so epic. And I watched President Trump and I watched Vice President Pence and I watched them today lay out how our economic surrender is over. And I watched them declare how we were not going to be screwed over anymore. And it was amazing. He got rid of Cohen and all the folks that were saying that they weren't going to go along with America's rebirth. Because America's wealth and power was parlayed. We had over half the world's industrial base in 1960. Now we're a fraction of that. Our power, our free market, was parlayed into corporations and government groups going and setting up this stuff in China for their global domination. And Trump is aware of that. And that's why this is so epic. And I saw Trump again in that speech say, I meet with these world leaders and they laugh and smile and admit it's been a one-sided deal to bring America to heel, to deindustrialize us, to dictate the terms of our surrender. When communist China has mobile execution vans and kills millions of their own people and all this crap. And here's the biggest news. Here's the biggest news. I haven't got to it yet. I should have started with this. You know me, I don't just get to it right up front. I get to it later. Communist China was the number one buyer of our debt and the number one financer through all these foundations and groups of the takeover of U.S. universities, of media, and of industry. Just a month ago, even Jeff Bezos' Washington Post had to admit that the communist Chinese government had penetrated and taken over the University of Texas at Austin and every other major public institution with Chinese intelligence. Look it up. And of course, he's only doing that because he thinks Alibaba's going to beat him. So, happening right now. That's what's unfolding right now. And China had sold the United States out. Our own corrupt elites had sold us out. And Communist China has been financing all these groups behind them, but a close number two was Saudi Arabia. What happened 4 months ago? Trump goes to Saudi Arabia. He cuts off the funding of Al-Qaeda, ISIS, of Western funding, of Hillary's foundation. They arrest thousands of people. That's why they're panicking. The globalists from Saudi Arabia are being cut off. The EU is being cut off. The corrupt globalist Vatican is being cut off. All their UN programs are being cut off. And now, the Chinese dictator 14 months ago, not in 2018 in Switzerland, but 2017, went, look it up, CNBC, to Davos, Switzerland. And they said, I will defeat America. I will bring you globalism. We will bring in collectivism for the corporations where they're over everyone and tax exempt. And Juncker, the third generation dictator of Luxembourg, of the Juncker Nazi family, said, we will break up America. We will crush Trump. 15 months later, you've gotten your ass handed to you. All of you have. And I watched Trump and Pence at that press conference that everybody should go watch. It's only 20 minutes long. And they are so focused. It's beyond crazed. And they were delivering. And right then I knew I was completely right all along to support them with all the things they've done, all the things they've delivered on, everything they've supported. Even though they're not dictators, they've gotten so much done. And I just realized my gut was right all along. And they said, our economic surrender is over. And he said, listen, I'm reciprocal to China and Japan and South Korea and everybody. But these deals where you've got 20, 30, 40% tariffs on us and we have a 2% or none on you, that's over. And he said they smile and laugh and say, we know you're right. Because there'll be no market for them soon if that continues. This is 21st century warfare. This is how they've been controlling things. And the average leftist is so anti-American, they're just trained on that like baby ducks that imprint. Even though they don't get power from it, they just hate America like they're outside and believe their ego is associated with dominating it or hurting it or centralizing it. They've been trained to be traitors. They've been selected, they've been selectively tested, they've been chosen. And we must reject these people because they'll never stop. At least the communist Chinese and the EU and other groups respect what was America. But the traitors within, they were chosen and given little pieces of power, little snacks, little treats like a dog. Every level they hated the country. Every level they hated Christians. Every level they sided with enemies and were tested by MSNBC and CNN to prove their treacherousness. They are the real enemy. But they're having their money cut off. And their big pissing contest to gang rape America and have their way over it because they grew up all pissed off in high school and everything and think like America's the high school football coach or the high school quarterback and like if they can just F it over, they'll get control. That's their cosmology. And for me to finally realize that's the programming, because I grew up hating this America First stuff or how great Texas is. I thought it was just arrogance. Then I realized it was people defending against what you are. So I want to tell the leftists, the globalists, all of you, we've already beaten you. We're going to go on beating you. And no matter what you do censorship-wise, monetarily, whatever, you're going to lose because you come from filthy, degenerate, inbred, dumb families. You come from parasites. You come from trash. And just like the communist Chinese bloodthirsty leadership, you are broken. So I want you to know that you're broken, and this is just the beginning, and no matter what comes out of this, your existential need to dominate people that are better than you will end up in what beta people like you always wanted, and that is being crushed. You'll never take control of the AI. You'll never take control of anything. You are trash. Just like Hitler, just like Mao, just like the current dictator of China, You are scum that seeks power because you know you're trash and you hope power would give you some transcendence over what you are. It will not happen. So Trump has delivered in the first salvo in the raping of America and the West with these unfair deals and this economic warfare. And America has woken up to the economic and cultural warfare and has woken up to this, and so there's no putting the genie back in the bottle. So all of you that serve this, you're already having your funding cut off. And you're going to be crushed. And I wanted you to know that tonight, that on every front, culturally, economically, militarily, at every level, you were never part of the elite. You were useful idiots that lowered the drawbridge to the globalists, to the communist Chinese, the robber barons, and you're defeated now. And this is the beginning of your destruction. Mainstream media, the big mega corporations, all of you are jokes. You're obsolete. You declared war on us. We declare war on you. It's equilibrium. And so, the communist Chinese, the globalist EU, the demonic Pope, all of you people who have this craven vision of your power over humanity, you are broken, you are defeated. And the media thinks you're so stupid, viewers, and I know you're not. When they have all these tariffs on us, Europe has 4 times the tariffs, China the same deal, and Trump just says no more and cuts our tax from 40 to 15, and China, who was already at 15, goes to 0, and Trump goes, okay, we're not doing this anymore because America's not here to get gang raped. We're not a doormat anymore. I know all the people that are lessers in their own minds see America and its power and its promise as threatening. So if you can all have a big globalist circle jerk ceremony, pissing on God and pissing on America and pissing on the Second Amendment and pissing on free speech, you think if you all collectively get together with a bunch of little ugly Brian Stelters, a bunch of hunchback demons, that you'll still be men. You won't. You're pieces of filth. And no matter what you do to us, you'll always be trash that lived at the sufferance of us. And you took our goodness at not destroying you. This is a big secret for you. You took that we love God, and we know vengeance is God's. You took our sufferance as the fact that you should destroy us. You took that as the sign that you should destroy us. You destroyed yourself. Look in the mirror at who you are. You'll never run anything. You'll never be anybody. You think a hunchback piece of trash like Stelter could run his own life? You people are cancer. So we're going to step aside and watch you ally with the communist Chinese and every other filthy organization, and you are defeated. And Trump is for real, and you're so scared of him. And no matter what you do, you'll never stop us, because yes, we produce all this prosperity and then you shit all over it. But it's for those that are meant to understand it, not for you. But this is your message. You are broken. You are defeated. You are bound. So all you leftists and all you trash, you're never going to stop. I understand that. But you need to know. You need to know that your alliance with the murdering communist Chinese is broken, and your money's getting cut off, and NPR and all of you are going to go bankrupt and be shut down. Within 1 year, you'll save face and keep a few stations open. You'll all be shut down because the blood out of our arteries is going to be cut off to you. You filthy, ugly vampires. Go back to hell where you came from, because you are broken. The globalists are losing, but they're doubling down their attacks. There's one thing they fear, and it's people power. InfoWars has defeated their censorship so far only because of you spreading the links, spreading the articles, subscribing, clicking the notification buttons, and getting the articles and videos out. But they are intensifying their censorship, so now it's more important than ever to ensure we keep the First Amendment alive and well right here in America and free speech worldwide. So from Australia to countries in Africa, to Europe, to Mexico, to right here in the USA, I salute you all for taking action and defending free speech. We will prevail.
Yes, we will prevail. Yes, Alex, we are winning the info war. And if you would like to help Alex fight the info war, all you need to do is click on the link below for free training to learn how to be a content creator like myself. Now, don't forget to subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and take care.